It's the first meeting between these Pacific Division rivals since Game 7 of Round 2 of the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. We get you set for the Oilers and the Canucks right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the pregame show here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola with you alongside Hernan Salas inside the EST Global HQ. Shawn Belle standing by, our game analyst for tonight in for Matt Cassian. And of course, we welcome you in as we do. Text us 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on YouTube, get into the Nasty Chat. 780-218-9999 is the number. Nasty Chat is the place. If you're watching, hit that thumbs up. We appreciate you so very, very much. The Oilers and Canucks renew their rivalry. Edmonton 6-7-1 this season. The Canucks 7-2-3, riding a 3-game heater thus far. Game number 15 for the Edmonton Oilers. And also, we'll see what we get from Vasily Podkolzin, and we'll see what we get from Vinny Desharnais tonight. It is the revenge game for both of those two gentlemen, playing against their old teams for the first time. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Nancito, you want to come in and say hello to everybody? How you doing, big boy?
Good, man. Excited for this game tonight. Should be a good test for the Edmonton Oilers. We'll see what kind of effort we get. Like you said, no lineup changes, but yeah, I'm so intrigued by this game. Vancouver never gives the Oilers an easy ride, so it's gonna be interesting to see how the Oilers come out, how they respond to some adversity, because there's gonna be some when these two teams meet. And I'm also intrigued by the goaltending matchup here. See if Stuart Skinner can bounce back, who wasn't bad last game, but a few soft goals that many of us would have liked back. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, Tommy. It's these two teams, man. That 7-game series, I think, wore out a lot of people. I can't imagine playing in that, but it was fun. So I'm really excited for this game tonight. And the Oilers, it's the excuses are done, Tom. It's time to show up and show that you're a team that is a Stanley Cup contender. And the guy I'll be watching closely, Mr. Evan Bouchard.
Evan Bouchard. Why is that?
He's been playing a little poorly lately. So
slow start.
I just want to see how he battles back, because I'm sure he's hearing it, Tom. I mean, here in Edmonton, you can't really get away from it. So he's taking a lot of heat, just like Darnell Nurse has at times, and other players on this team. And now it's Evan Bouchard, so we'll see if he can find a way to elevate his game and show some urgency.
Hey, the Oilers could use that, and they would appreciate that. So, too, would the fan base. We will get to starting lineups, and Belzy will be joining us in about 5 minutes or so. We'll also touch base really quickly with Brendan Batchelor later on in the program. Had a chance to talk to him for a couple of minutes, so we'll get the Canucks perspective on things. We want to hear from you. How do you feel going into this game? Do you have a question of the night, or you want to just kind of let it ride today? What do you think?
No, I can bring one up here if you just give me
I can give you a couple minutes.
A couple of minutes.
Yeah, I'll
here.
go to starting lineups and
Sure.
Injury report. For the Oilers, you mentioned it, no changes to the lineup. McDavid between Skinner and Hyman, Draisaitl centering Podkolzin and Arvidsson, Nugent-Hopkins between Henrique and Brown, Derek Ryan with Janmark and Perry. On defense, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Stetcher, Kulak with Emberson. That means Travis Dermott is out. Here's what we're anticipating from the Vancouver Canucks tonight. JT Miller between Puce, Suter, and Connor Garland. Elias Pettersson, who only has 5 points through 12 games this year, with Nils Höglander and Jake DeBrusk. DeBrusk waking up, which is good for the Canucks, not good for the Oilers tonight. Teddy Bluger centering Danton Heinen and Kiefer Sherwood. Sherwood's been a little you-know-what disturber for the Canucks after coming over from Nashville. And then Atu Ratu between Nils Oman and Arshdeep Bains is your fourth line for Vancouver. On the blue line for the Canucks tonight, Quinn Hughes with Philip Hronik, Carson Soucy with Tyler Myers, Eric Brandstrom with former Oilers D-man Vinny Desharnais. That brings us to starting goalies for the Edmonton Oilers. 26-year-old Stu Skinner, 3-5-1 this season, 328 goals against average, .885 save percentage, 1 shutout in 9 games this year. Skinner versus the Canucks, lifetime 1-4 record, 404 GAA, 855 save percentage in 6 games against Vancouver over the course of his career. At the other end of the rink, this guy's on fire, and he was kind of not a toss-in, but they were at the start of the year when they needed a goaltender, when they heard Thatcher Demko might not be ready to go with that knee injury. They're like, I guess Kevin Lankinen's the guy, and he's going to get the start. He's been an absolute beast for the Canucks so far this season. The 29-year-old, 7-0-2, 208 goals against average, 923 save percentage, 1 shutout in 9 games this season. Lankinen versus Edmonton throughout the course of his career, a 1-3 record, 366 GAA, and an 881 save percentage in the 5 appearances he's had versus the Oil. That brings us to the Advantage Sports Medicine Injury Report. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, we treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach, trusted by the best in the game. For the Oilers, you're going to hear this a lot. Evander Kane, LTIR, abdominal surgery. For the Canucks, a couple of fresh injuries, especially this one. Brock Besser, day-to-day upper body is what they're calling it, but it's head. If you didn't see it on Thursday night, he got clipped by Tanner Jeannot from the Kings in L.A., and did not look good. Cost Jeannot 3 games when he got his suspension yesterday. Derek Forbort also out day-to-day with a knee issue. Dakota Joshua, IR testicular cancer. It sounds like he's coming along. Obviously scary. You never like to see that in a young person. We saw Brendan Davidson go through that about a decade ago with the Oilers, and he was down in OKC at the time. And Brandon was able to recover fully and come back and continue to play, which was great. So we wish Dakota Joshua well. He is not good to go just yet for the Canucks. And then, of course, the aforementioned Thatcher Demko, IR, with that really, really fickle knee injury that has cost him the entirety of this season. So there you go. There is your injury report, brought to you by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. All right, we got a couple minutes before we get to Shawn Belle. I want to point out one thing tonight. We saw it earlier. Dante Fabro was put on waivers by the Nashville Predators. I know Oilers fans are thirsty for a defenseman to improve the blue line. So I inquired. I said to some of my people within the organization, should Oilers fans get their hopes up? And the answer I got was a resounding no. Hernan.
We're going to go there, aren't we?
I'm sorry. Because I'm sure it's already popping up. I haven't looked at the text line or the nasty chat, but the answer I got was no.
And listen, Dante Fabro, first rounder, I get it. Would he be an upgrade here in Edmonton? Possibly, but he's on waivers for a reason.
The money doesn't work either, by the way.
Yeah, and the money doesn't work. And I mean, again, like a guy off waivers is not the savior guy, people. And everybody that lands on the waiver wire, Oilers should go get him. Well, no, and I get it. The younger guy, he's fell out of favor there in Nashville, but I'm glad you reached out and you asked, and they said no, so we can just put an end to it and stop. You never know, Tom. Who the hell knows? I think they're pretty down on the waiver order anyway, so he might get plucked even before the Oilers, if they were interested, get an opportunity. But, Edmonton, man, we love our waiver players, and we think they're going to come in and be the difference, which I don't think. Is Dante Fabro an upgrade on Travis Dermott? Yeah, I'd say so, but I mean, you still need a legit top 4 defenseman, and for me, it's not him.
One of the replies I got was, "That'll be a no, LOL." And I said, some fans will be crushed. And then I received an RIP.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so there you go. Don't expect Dante Fabro to be in orange and blue. That's just the information I was given, passing it on to those that are wondering, because I saw some texts earlier on Hello Hockey, not an Oilers show, a hockey show with Shawn Belle. And
you're just giving the information
I'm just
that
passing
you're
along
getting.
what I was
Exactly.
told.
Yeah.
I was curious too. Oh, Dante Fabro. We've heard his name bounced around a bit around here. No, is what I was told. Quote, "That'll be a no," LOL from one source. So,
oh boy,
take it for what it's worth. All right. Do you have a question of the night that you want to throw out there?
I was just gonna say, Tom, like what game is this? 15?
15.
Okay, and I think on the last post game show we said around games 20 to 25. That's your team. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah. So, for Edmonton Oilers fan, is this kind of like the make it or break it game? Is this the game that if the Oilers come out and have a good effort, they're going to turn their season around? Or are we going to completely fall off the rails here if they lose this one? Because it's a division rival, a team you battled your little hearts out in the 7-game series last spring, Tommy, and this is a good measuring stick, and so far they've failed against the top team. So for Oiler fans, is this the game you're looking at where you're going to say this is the Oilers team, or is this the turnaround that the Edmonton Oilers so desperately need?
What say you? 780-218-9999 if you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Apple Music, and of course on the EdmontonSportsTalk.com live audio player. And then if you're watching on YouTube, get into the nasty chat. Let us know your thoughts. Is this the make or break game for the Oilers at game number 15 of the season?
And Tom, I want to be clear, not in terms of going to the playoffs or anything, but turning their season around, becoming the team we all want them to become, right?
Oh, okay. That makes, yes, thank you for clarifying.
That makes more sense.
They're 6-7-1 right now, and they're not in a great spot, not where they should be. But they're not in a terrible position. If they win tonight, it's like, well, they're right back in the mix. They temporarily could be back into a playoff spot and a wild card spot and just a couple points back of some other teams. So what say you? I want to hear and get a vibe from Oilers fans and kind of understand where they're at. I mean, there are some that are way off on one end of the spectrum where they're super concerned. And then there's others that are like, yeah, it's fine. They'll be okay. Give them some time.
Because keep in mind, if they lose this game, let's just a big if. Yeah. They've lost to 3 really good teams this week, and that to me is concerning.
You need to beat the good teams.
Because Edmonton's supposed to be better than all these teams they're playing right now,
and they haven't been. All right, let us know. Question of the night: is this a game that'll help boost the Oilers, get them turned around, and get their season back on track, if you will, and for them to become the team that you expect them to? Or do you think this one will be another shot in the sensitive male area, as Reed Wilkins calls it? As we welcome in our game analyst, Shawn Belle, who is joining us live on location. Where are you at, Bellsy? Are you at Summit right now?
I'm at Summit right now. It's absolute pandemonium right now in here because they've got obviously the Grand Slam of curling. Mm-hmm. Semifinals are about to hit around 8 o'clock. So people are definitely coming in. They're checking things out. But it's loud in here. So I apologize if you hear a consistent buzz.
Yeah, we can hear a little bit, Belsley, but you're coming in loud and clear. You've also got a showcase, right? You got a showcase happening there.
Yeah, our U14 team is playing just to the right of me right now. It's currently 5-5 in OT. So if I jump out of my chair here in a second, you'll know why.
That's good. Well, let's see a good reaction for your U15 team. Belsley on location at Summit, new proud partner of Hello Hockey. Great to have them on board. Excellent wings there. Delicious beers on tap. Hopefully they get 6 o'clock or lager back on tap, Belzy. They had it for the longest time. It sold pretty well, like it does everywhere, does it not?
It sold unbelievably well.
Right.
But at the same time, I think they have a couple, other partners in mind and stuff like that. So it's off for a little bit, but I'm going to convince Yenny and the boys to bring it back.
All right. You are very good at convincing people. You are in your element there at Silent Ice Center at Summit Restaurant. Fantastic spot. That's where Belzy's joining us tonight, our game analyst, as we go into Game Changers with Shawn Belle, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent, top producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out on DamonBunting.com or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Number one for you tonight, Belzy, when you look at it from an Oilers perspective, is engagement.
Engagement, yes, because I did a little research because I was curious to see, what their record was when all of a sudden they just weren't engaged. And every single time they've come out and they've looked lackluster, they have lost the game. Vegas scored first when they played Vegas. Jersey, the game was okay. They got scored on first. They end up losing. The next couple games, they end up scoring first. They're definitely engaged, like the Nashville game, for example. They come out, they score first, and they do well. Columbus, we all know how that game was. They have obviously lost that one. So for me, with the Oilers, they have to be an engaged hockey team. When they're an engaged hockey team, they got skill, they play with speed, they play fast, which is actually my third point, and they consistently go at teams wave after wave. So if they can have that emotional engagement, that physical engagement, well, more than likely they're going to actually, be in this game, and there's a good chance they're going to win it.
Belzy, I know you said you looked into it. Out of the 14 games this year, and it is a subjective thing, but how many of those games, in your opinion, was this team sufficiently engaged?
I would say probably 4 or 5.
That's it.
Because even with one of the games where they won, which was against Detroit, they had to battle back, and the first period for them was lackluster. I mean, so you could probably put that into the mix of the 4 or 5. But for me, it hasn't been good enough over the last 14, 15 games if we're being a team that's serious about trying to contend.
I'll even add in the Philadelphia game because I understand the parameters you're looking at it from. So Philly won, same thing. They had to dig themselves out of a hole. All right, that was number 1 for Game Changers with Shawn Belle. Engagement. Number 2, special teams. Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Oh.
So right now on the PK, you've got one of the most historically bad PKs the league has seen. Well, you're not going to be able to fix this overnight. So what you want to see is you want to see really good reps. You want to see, lanes being taken away. You want to see good pushes over top. You want to see guys that are selling out to block shots. And maybe if they can get through a game where they don't give up one, power play goal, maybe they feel good about themselves. And then all of a sudden, the good times are starting to roll when it comes to the PK. But if you continuously cheat, like we talked about last time I was on, and you don't, take care of those details, well, you're going to be in trouble, and this penalty kill is going to consistently get worse. So baby steps in that regards is that, okay, let's make sure we take care of the details. Even if you get scored on, if you can walk away from the game saying, you know what, I took care of a lot of the good things that, I was supposed to, the details that I was supposed to, and maybe the goal that was scored was a fluke goal, you can actually walk away and say, okay, that's a step in the right direction.
Belzy, this came in earlier in the day. It was from Coach Mike via the text line, 780-218-9999. If you want to fire something Belzy's way, let us know your thoughts, and then I'll keep a tab on the nasty chat as well. But Coach Mike asked earlier, said, Belzy, in your opinion, what's one thing that the Oilers penalty kill could do to immediately improve?
Stop getting picked apart through the seams. Right? One of the biggest things that we've talked about, Tom, so consistently is the Royal Road. And every single time that puck crosses the Royal Road, the chances of you scoring go up by 30%. So every single team that's played against the Oilers picked it apart. And if you look at last game against Vegas, well, that's a very clear detail that happened. And Christian Alblok talked about it, is that there was a seam pass that happened. I think it was Darnell Nurse or maybe it was Kulak. He goes down, he sells out. They move the puck to the point to Hanifin. Hanifin has a little bit of a stick fake, a head fake. 2 guys bite, but it all starts with the seam, and then chaos ensues. So if you can start to be a little bit more detailed and take away some of those options that teams are picking you apart on, well, now you're going to put yourself in a better light, in a better spot.
Royal Road, man, they're giving it up a lot. I remember Adam Henrique, I think it was a game or two ago, was saying that he took the wrong route. It was a bad play by him. At least they're owning up to it, but
at what point do you say, okay, it's great that you're owning up to it, but now we need to have some execution.
Exactly.
And that's what the NHL is about. It's about what have you done for me lately, and it's about execution.
Well, at 59.5%, 32nd in the NHL, they have not executed well on the penalty kill whatsoever. I think there's only been a couple of games so far where they haven't allowed a goal when the team is shorthanded. That is absolutely awful. The home penalty kill, 10 for 23, 10 goals for 23 opportunities. It is 56.5%. Somehow that's only 30th in the NHL at home. And then at on the road. It's 5 for 14. They've given up 5 on 14 opportunities. That's 64.3%. That's 31st in the NHL, but overall at 59.5%, 32nd in the National Hockey League. No shorties scored to totally redeem themselves so far this season. Power play, Belsey, really quickly. Let's take a look over there because the power play 27th in the NHL going into action tonight. 5 for 35. It's just some of the, I think at least 2 or 3 of these 5 power play goals they've scored through 14 games have come off the rush, not when established on the power play. One was in garbage time in Columbus, and it's just like, you want to talk about execution or a lack thereof. The power play, same thing,
well,
right?
power play, the same thing for sure. But if you look at the goals that the Oilers have scored on the power play, they've all come from a point shot with traffic in front of the net. So that's a recipe that you can try to, recycle, if you will. And you've got Bouchard, who's got a tremendous shot. If you decide, okay, I'm going to be a little bit more calculated with what I do, maybe be a little bit more patient and try to establish, shots from the point or Connor McDavid attacking downhill. Mm-hmm. Now maybe some of those other options open up. And we've talked about it last time I was on the show, is that you've got really good players on your power play, but you're not utilizing them because all you're trying to do is stare down Draisaitl. So, be a little bit more calculated with what you're trying to do. Establish something else where teams now have to adjust to that. And like I mentioned, Connor McDavid walking downhill, pretty sure most teams don't want to see that attacking you every single time. So now they're going to overplay him. And once that happens, now you can start to, pick apart the seams. Maybe Draisaitl becomes open, but for a fact that Hyman's going to be standing wide open down low, because he usually is right now, because the weak side defenseman is cheating for that seam. And then there's also Nugent Hopkins that plays in that bumper position where maybe he's the guy that gets a puck and he's got an underrated shot. So there's lots of options on the power play. I think they just have to establish something first, a la maybe the Bush bomb, or have McDavid start to attack downhill, and then people can kind of sort it out from there.
Bush, by the way, has become the shin pad assassin so far this year.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
A lot of broken shin pads there.
Yeah, and he hit Zach Hyman in the sensitive male area.
Who was the original? Sakara?
Clefbaum.
Oh, poor Clef, eh? Can't even sit here and defend himself.
I know. Great guy. Shin pad assassin. A great nickname, too. Unfortunately, Sekera did kind of have that moniker for a little bit as well, but got to get that puck through. And that's something that Bouchard has a habit of being able to do, or not a habit, a knack, I should say, and we just haven't seen it so far this year.
That's one of his best skill sets for sure.
Yeah, let's see if he can get back to that. All right, it is Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Shawn Belle in for Matt Cassian tonight. Number 1 was engagement. Number 2, special teams, baby steps. Belsey coming at us from Summit Restaurant at Silent Ice Center tonight, where his team is still playing. Did they win in overtime? Is it over yet?
Just lost a shootout.
I'm sorry, buddy.
It happens.
You go party with the curling people. They're there too, right?
Yeah, it might happen.
Yeah, the Grand Slam of curling going on at Silent Ice right now. All right, Belsey, 1 engagement, 2 special teams, baby steps. Number 3, play fast.
Yeah, so one of the formula against the Canucks is that you have to be able to beat their aggression. And they do a really good job of, clogging up the neutral zone. They make you work for every single inch. They're a hardworking team and they're a physical team. And the times that the Oilers have had success, and this obviously is dating back to the playoffs, the Oilers played fast. They were sprinting to pucks. They were getting to pucks first. They were winning 50-50 battles, but they also moved pucks quickly, which kind of negated some of the physicality that the Canucks are going to throw at them. And
Right.
you know that right now, between these two teams, the Canucks feel like they've had a formula, or they figured out a formula to try to beat the Oilers, and that is outwork them and out-hit them to the point where they're now just going to make some mistakes. So for the Oilers, they got to get to their game A. They got to skate. They got to be engaged. They got to be ready to play. And they have to be willing to move pucks and move them quickly.
That was number 3 of Game Changers. Play fast. They have not done that for portions of this season, and it certainly cost them. They have not executed. Their passing, I thought, was atrocious the other night, and I think a lot of it had to do with the forecheck from the Golden Knights. And then the other thing, too, Belzy, they just couldn't make a pass sometimes when they had time and space.
That is very true.
Oh, yes. Let's see if they can clean that up against the Vancouver Canucks tonight. All right. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. If you're just joining us, get into the nasty chat as well. Hit that thumbs up button if you're watching on YouTube. Belzy enjoying a delicious libation. I'm a little bit jealous of him, but maybe we'll dip into one on the post-game show. We shall see. It's coming at us from Summit Restaurant at Silent Ice Center. Grumpy Cat texting in says, I say Shawn Belle is a beauty. I agree. The Liquid Beaver answering the question of the night that Hernan threw out there. I'm going to get Hernan to ask it right away again. But the Liquid Beaver saying it's not make or break, but it isn't. But isn't it sad that we have to go through this every year? When will the lessons be learned? Liquid Beaver, I've said it. There are no more lessons to be. They've learned every damn lesson you can learn in hockey without actually winning. They came so close, but now it's just going out there and executing and figuring out. They do not do that. They're very reluctant to actually heed their own lessons and things that they've been warned of. All right, Nanso, come on in here. What do you got for the question of the night? Fire it at Belzy as well.
What's up, Belzy? Joaquin says hi too. Joaquin was like, right he was like, "Where's Belzy at?"
Joaquin's going to join you right away. Look out.
I'm sure he is. Yeah.
He might show up there, so keep an eye out for.
Well, I hope he does.
Belzy, it's just, we're getting close to that 20-game mark, and I think last post-game show with Reed Wilkins, we were talking about where 20 to 25 games, like, you have a good idea what your team is at that point, right? Like anything before that, it's a little premature. But looking at this game, Belzy, it's such an important game. They've lost to the Golden Knights and the Devils this week. Is this a game, if they win, that you think is going to turn their season? Or if they lose, is this just going to get even more is it going to get uglier for this team? And is Stan Bowman going to be kind of pressed into maybe acting a little quicker than he wanted to? Like, it's not the end of the world. I'm not saying they're missing the playoffs, but can this game be the one that turns the Oilers' season around?
Well, it depends on how the game goes. Like, if you turn in a 60-minute effort and you beat the brakes off the Vancouver Canucks, then I would say probably yes. But if this is a back and forth affair and, we're sitting here saying, okay, like that was a good game, but maybe you're left wanting more, I don't know if that's going to be the game that galvanizes the team or brings them together to now push them in the right direction. Like, all you want to see from the Oilers is that they're making the right steps to make sure that their game is in order. And obviously, last game, it is what it is. There were some mistakes that were made, but you want to see the maturation process from this team where it's like that game doesn't happen anymore, a la Evan Bouchard, right? You want to see Evan Bouchard come out today and carry the mail and be a good player. And if they can all do that, well, now maybe we're starting to have those baby steps that can get your game back together and push it to where it needs to be, right? So it's just totally dependent on the game.
Yeah.
As far as like a trade comes, like, I don't think that trade's coming.
No.
And, if you lose this game, yes, there's going to be more pressure from the fan base, from the media. People are going to be pissed off. But the reality is that they have to continue doing the right things to try to get them in order. Because even if you make that trade for a defenseman, is that going to be the be-all, end-all if they're still playing the way that they are?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, and they bring in a David Savard, for example, well, sure, he's going to help solidify something. But if the Oilers are still playing the way that they are, nothing's going to change. So this it has to take place in the room, and they've got to get on the same page, and then they can start to roll from there, and then you add the pieces that you need closer to the deadline, if not the deadline.
Sean, Tom, and our listeners, I'm intrigued, though, because you bring up a good point, Belzy, where say they play well, and they lose by one goal, and it's just a bad break or whatever it is, but they play well. Is that enough for the fans to be like, hey, at least the details were taken care of for the most part? They kind of turned compared to the last two games. Do you think that's enough to kind of calm everybody down?
You see my look right now, Hernan?
No.
Come on.
I know that look.
I love these Oiler fans because I love how passionate they are, but like if they lose and it's a lucky bounce and it's like off of Nurse's skate in the net,
Yeah.
oh God. Like,
Yeah.
it's just one of those ones, and it comes with the territory. It comes with the fan base that you have, and it's a fan base that's been starved, and they want to see greatness. They want to see a team that works its blank off, and they want to see wins, and I can't really blame them for it. So in the team, the dressing room, if they play well and it's a fluke bounce, then yes, it's a check. It's kind of a check mark in the right direction. But for the fan base, well, no chance.
Yeah. This Game Changers, Shawn Belle with us, in for Matt Cassidy tonight. Tom Gazzola, Hernan Salas with you as well. GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, Oilers and Canucks. First of 3 meetings this season. Maple Jed Texan says Bowman needs to be patient, find a long-term upgrade for second right D. Scalding Gord says, I put McDavid on the penalty kill. His speed will alter the thought process of the power play. What would you say to that idea from Scalding Gord, Belzy?
You need people that are going to be ultra detailed in the D zone and that are going to be patient and are going to take away, passing lanes, making sure that the bumpers covered, making sure they're not cheating on offense. And so I'll leave it at that.
He's done it before, guys, right? Like years ago, him and Draisaitl did it quite a bit, actually. Right. But it's not ideal, Tommy. You don't want, the last thing you want is a block shot by 97, and he's already getting,
you don't want that at all.
No.
Bad Billy chiming in via the inbox, 780-218-9999. Bad Billy says, hey, Tommy and the crew, not sure what team shows up tonight, but for God's sake, please give us a 60-minute effort and just hustle and stay out of the box. Skinner needs a big game. Go Oil, from Bad Billy. The hustling, staying out of the box, I think, is a fear of allowing a 59.5% PK to quote-unquote go to work. But Belzy, like, I know we're talking about the lack of success on the power play as well, but they don't get a lot of power plays. Why?
That's because they stay to the perimeter, and it's too easy to play against. And teams that draw penalties are the teams that are forcing their way to the ice, and they're aggressive, trying to, pursue white ice, if that's the way I can, talk about it. Because guys that are attacking and they're trying to force the issue, you have a decision to make: haul down a defenseman, or hold down a forward, or do something that is going to obstruct an Oiler player. But if you stay on the perimeter, well, it's an easy defense. So then there's no penalties that are going to get dropped.
Belzy, fantastic work as always, my friend. Stay away from those curling folk unless you want to get into one tonight. How is it over there?
Well, it's chaos is what it is. About right before we got on the show, there was a massive ovation. Yeah. And I'm like, what's going on right now? And it was, I think, Gushu won. So people are pretty pumped up. That was a quarterfinal. Semifinal is going to start in 25 minutes. So I think this place is going to get electric.
Fantastic. It's a great spot. Belzy, thank you as always. We'll catch up with you on the post-game show.
Sounds good. Peace.
There you go. There's Shawn Belle, our game analyst, in for Matt Cassidy, and Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Text us, 780-218-9999. If you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Apple Music, and, of course, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player. Get in on the discussion. And then if you're watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, share with your friends, please and thank you. I see a nasty chat comment says, from Chris G, hearing rumors that Dante Fabro is on the Oilers' radar. I did not roll my eyes.
No.
I'm just gonna say I did address this earlier because I knew people, they always do around here, go, well, how about this guy? How about that guy? I'm hearing this. I checked in on this earlier with some sources within the organization, and one of them I will quote again when I asked about, hey, would Fabro be a fit with you guys? I received, quote, "That'll be a no, LOL," unquote. And I said, "Oilers fans will be crushed." And the response I got was RIP. So,
Tommy,
there you go, Chris G.
Dante Fabro, 26 years old, former first rounder in 2016. Okay?
Gotcha.
Career high in points, 24 back in 21-22. This year's 6 games played, 0 points, -3. I get why Oilers fans would like the Oilers to pick him up and all that. But again, for me, the Oilers upgrade, and whether it's now or in 2 months from now or at the trade deadline, Tom, he's got to be better than Dante Fabro.
Yeah.
Dante Fabro doesn't move the. Like I said, is he better than Travis Dermott? Sure, probably. Maybe. We don't know that, but that's you just keep adding third pairing guys, and then everybody's now a Dante Fabro expert, as you're seeing on Twitter, and the Oilers are the dumbest organization ever if they don't pick him up. Well,
Loomis just put Jesus Christ this front office,
but why?
I don't know.
And Tom,
they want scraps.
Do people not understand how the waiver wire works? Like, I think the Oilers are pretty far down right now, so they have to. Let's just say they wanted to. They would have to wait for so many teams to go ahead of them. Mm-hmm. Like, Dante Fabro is not the answer, people. Like, we overvalue players, Tommy. Holy smokes. And I know you're not trying to get upset, and I know we're previewing the Oilers Canucks, but I saw this today when I got up, and it was driving me crazy. I didn't respond to anyone because I don't want to fight with anyone, because to each their own, everybody has their opinion. But when are we going to stop trying to bring in all these, like you said, scrap pieces and think it's going to work?
I did the shrug emoji. Anyway, I'm just passing along what I was told. So I knew it was coming. Thank you, Chris G, for getting into the nasty chat. Loomis also adding Tolvanen was also a failure too, right? Some stranger says Oilers looking for a bigger fish. Today on Hello Hockey, this is why you should watch it. It's a tremendous program here on Saturdays on Edmonton Sports Talk, and you can hear it on Sportsnet Radio as well in other markets like Calgary, Vancouver. David Pagnotta, NHL insider, our insider on the show, said it's quiet out there, you guys. This is not the time that any team is really looking to make a big trade. The Daniel Sprong trade that the Canucks made for future considerations to the Kraken was more of a roster/financial one. That's the kind of thing we're looking at right now. So anyway, just passing along the information I have been given. Hope that helps. I hope that helps.
Oh, Tommy.
But you know it's coming, Hernan.
No, I know.
We're going to get these questions. I'm hearing this. I'm hearing that.
No,
I read this on Reddit. It's like, okay.
And I listen. I get the fan. We're all fans of different teams and different sports, and I get the fan aspect of it. You always want a new player. It's exciting. I get it, but Dante Fabro coming here does not move. And I know people are going to come in with their analytics and be like, "Oh, you guys this, you guys that," but like, there's a reason he's on waivers, people, on one of the worst teams in the NHL right now. Nashville's not very good.
No, and he was paired up with Brady Shea. Brady Shea's a pretty good defenseman. Things are not going well in Nashville. And listen, I'm not poo-pooing Dante Fabro, the player. I'm just passing along the information I have been given.
Yes.
That's it. That's all I'm putting out there. Like, if they go get him, I don't care. Great. Go make the money work. It's $2.5 million. They would need some help with that. They would need to make room. Like, okay. To me, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't bother me. I don't care either way. I'm just saying, here's what I've been told.
But this is Chris G. Fabro's better than Stetcher, Emberson, and Dermott. Honest question, Chris G. How many times have you watched Dante Fabro play?
How's Justin Danforth doing, by the way, guys?
Like, seriously, like, we watch these guys when they play the Oilers. That's it. I'm sorry. You might watch him one or two more times. But, like, let's stop acting like we know that he's better than all these guys. I don't know that. From what I've seen from Dante Fabro when he plays the Oilers, Tom. I don't know that he's
a
better.
left shot, too, is he not? Or is he a right shot?
He's right.
He's right. Okay. Anyway. 780-218-9990.
Moving on.
Scalding Gord was like, is that Belle's nice way of saying 97 is irresponsible defensively?
I didn't want to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, in a nice way, basically. Nicely done. Good read, Scalding Gord. All right. I had a chance to speak with Brendan Batchelor, play-by-play voice of the Vancouver Canucks, for a couple of minutes earlier. We're going to go into this one midway through because we're going to move through this show quick. We're getting closer and closer to puck drop here as the Oilers and Canucks meet for the first time since Game 7 of the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in the spring. Where are we picking up this conversation, Nanso?
It will be when we check in on former Edmonton Oiler, Vinny Desharnais.
All right, here we go. Brendan Batchelor, play-by-play voice of the Canucks. The guy that Oilers fans will be watching tonight is Vinny Desharnais. A couple of good years, especially last year, his first full year with the Oilers, and won over a lot of people with his charismatic nature. And he's a big, tall guy, good penalty killer. How has his first little bit of time with the Canucks gone thus far, in your opinion?
Yeah, well, I think he's a really good personality, first of all. That's something that we've been able to learn about him really quickly, basically from day one of training camp when he was already chirping JT Miller at the club's golf tournament right to begin the season. In terms of his on-ice performance, I think it's been up and down a little bit. He was healthy scratched in just the second game of the year and has sat out 4 games already, but seems to have found some pretty good chemistry on the third pairing with Erik Brannstrom. And, they played some pretty good hockey together of late. So I think when the Canucks elected to sign him in the offseason, they always talked about the fact he might be a little bit of a project. They might need to work with him a little bit to get him to play the kind of game that they want him to play. But, Adam Foote and Sergei Gonchar, who are a couple of pretty good defensemen in their time that are now coaches of the organization, have spent a lot of time working with him. And I think we've seen some of the fruits of that labor early on. So I'm sure it'll be a continual process for Desharnais to find some consistency in his game and find a way to be in the lineup every night. But in the last little bit here, he's been pretty good. And him and Brannstrom have provided some solid depth for the Canucks on that third pair.
All right, Batch. The Canucks swept the Oilers in the season series last year, but then the Oilers get the better of Vancouver in the second round of the playoffs, going to Game 7. How much of that series will be on the minds of the Canucks in this game, do you think?
Yeah, I think it absolutely will. And, Rick Tocchet this morning talked about the fact that there's a little bit of extra juice in this game and a little more rivalry feel because of the way things went in the playoffs last year. And let's be honest, guys, for these two teams in the Pacific Division, there's a very real possibility they have to face each other again in the postseason this year if they want to, advance beyond the second round. And, obviously the Oilers went all the way to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final, so they'd like to get back there. The Canucks would like to improve on their showing from last season. So I think anytime these two teams take to the ice, it's going to be an entertaining and hard-fought affair. It wouldn't surprise me if the Canucks come out with a bit of a chip on their shoulder tonight. And whether it's this game or any of the games in the season series or a potential playoff series in the spring, it's always a lot of fun to watch these two teams take each other on.
Yeah, bring it on. First of 3 meetings in the regular season, and who knows, maybe we get another playoff series between the Oilers and the Canucks. Batch, fantastic stuff as always. Thank you, sir. We always appreciate it. Have a great call tonight, and we'll talk soon, my friend.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
That was a little bit of Brendan Batchelor from tonight, Canucks play-by-play voice. Tom Gazzola, Hernan Salas with you on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Nancito, there's a few texts that I want to get to in a little bit here, but, Batch talking about Vinny Desharnais hasn't exactly gone to plan or gone perfectly for him, but he's kind of found a little bit of a rhythm with Erik Brannstrom. We'll see how that goes tonight. And, I talked to Batch a little bit off the air about Elias Pettersson, who's had some struggles, although he said there's some signs that his game is coming back. He has 5 points in 12 games so far this season. Batch also thinks that Pettersson might be a little bit dinged up, and nobody's talking about it right now. But that was just his hunch.
That's interesting. Yeah, I was looking at some of the stats today before the show, and Elias Pettersson stands out for sure, Tommy. Yeah. And you brought up their home record too, so the Oilers, they could be in for a lucky night there because they have struggled at home so far early this season, and we'll see. I know Vinny was taking some heat in the last game from Vancouver media. I guess he's struggling making plays with the puck, something that we saw with him at times here, Tom. So something the Oilers. I just find Vancouver plays Edmonton totally different. I just think they're going to bring it. It's going to be a game where the Oilers better hone in on the details, better be ready to go from the puck drop, or they might be in for a long night. I hope not, but it might turn out that way.
Duck Dad via the nasty chat Justin Danforth has an assist tonight. Hashtag Danforth watch. Nicely done, Doug.
Oh, boy.
Nicely done. A tip of the cap to you, sir. Keep those texts coming in 780-218-9999. Let's go into the starting lineups one more time. If you're just joining us or did mid-show, the 6-7-1 Oilers take it on the 7-2-3 Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks have rattled off 3 straight wins. Their last game against LA cost them Brock Besser, Tanner Jeannot clipping him on the chin, hitting him in the head. Besser not playing for the Canucks tonight. Jeannot gets a 3-game suspension, by the way. For the Oilers lineup, McDavid between Skinner and Hyman, Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Arvidsson, Nugent-Hopkins between Henrique and Brown. Then you've got Derek Ryan with Janmark and Perry. Defense, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Stetcher, Kulak with Emberson. I know that Janmark didn't skate the other day, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be good to go for tonight. In goal for the Oilers, it will be Stu Skinner, who has not been particularly good against the Canucks over the course of his career. 1-4 in the regular season is his record. 404 goals against average, .855 save percentage in the 6 games he's played against the Canucks in his career. And then at the other end of the rink, this guy's on fire. 7-0-2. Kevin Lankinen, the 29-year-old, the 208 goals against average, .923 save percentage, 1 shutout in 9 games. Lankinen versus Edmonton, 1-3, .366 goals against average, .881 save percentage in 5 games versus Edmonton. And then the Canucks lineup looks like this. JT Miller between Puce Suter and Connor Garland. Elias Pettersson with Nils Höglander and Jake DeBrusk. Teddy Bluger with Danton Heinen and Kiefer Sherwood on his wings. And then centering the fourth line, Atu Ratu with Nils Oman and Arshdeep Bains flanking him. Quinn Hughes with Philip Hronik and Carson Soucy with Tyler Myers. Eric Brandstrom with the aforementioned Vinny Desharnais. We've got a few minutes to go here. I'm going to save Donnie M's CFL question for the very end. Big night in the CFL.
Yeah.
Big night. Let's go around the National Hockey League really quickly. The Oilers and Canucks, one of 12 games on the schedule. We've got a bunch already in the books as we creep into the later hours of the night. Earlier today, in a shootout, the Buffalo Sabres defeat the Calgary Flames 3-2. The Winnipeg Jets handle the Dallas Stars 4-1. Winnipeg now improves to 14-1. I saw Matt Hyman text in that they announced a crowd of over 15,000 in Winnipeg. That's a good sign because we heard some more rumblings and discussion about the lack of attendance at Jets games. And a good crowd tonight, too, at Princess Auto Stadium for the Riders-Bombers game. As for the Panthers and the Flyers, 4-3, the Panthers win it in a shootout. Boston falls, 2-2 going into overtime between the Bruins and the Sens. And then you've got the Rangers up 4-zip, or the win 4-zip over Detroit. The Capitals absolutely demolished St. Louis 8-1. Late in the third, 5 minutes remaining, according to NHL.com's media site, the Leafs lead the Canadiens 4-1. We've got the Islanders and Devils tied at 1, 9 minutes left in the third. After 2, Nashville up 3-zip on Utah Hockey Club. Stupid name. And then you've got the Hurricanes up 1-0 late in the first in Denver. Columbus also winning right now, 1-0 over LA late in the first period at Crypto.com Arena. Edmonton taking on the Canucks in about 15 to 18 minutes time. Hernan.
Tom, I just a shout out to no, it's not a shout out. Our condolences to the family and friends of Ted Wyman,
Right.
Long-term reporter for the Winnipeg Sun out there, and I got to meet him during my travels with the Elks. Tom, I don't know if you got to meet him.
I think I spoke with him on 1260, and I have met him. I had met him a couple of times. Really nice guy. He was here. I think we ended up at Kelly's once or twice through Derek Van Diest.
Yeah, really good guy in all my interactions with him. Always easy to work with. Always had a smile on his face. But he passed away after a long battle with cancer.
Sucks.
So condolences to all the Winnipeggers, everybody who read his stuff, all his colleagues, friends, and family. So just wanted to get that in there.
Well done. Well said, Nan. So heartfelt condolences to Ted Wyman's family and friends. Sad day in the media landscape in Canada, sports-wise, and as a whole. Real quick update. Boston does lose to Ottawa 3-2. Brady Tkachuk with the winner in OT. 21 seconds in.
What's going on with Boston, Tommy?
They're 7-2 now.
That's not
that
bad.
one. I don't know. I mean,
they've benched Pasternak and Marchand this at different times for bad plays.
yeah, and we've heard Jim Montgomery's name as one of the ones of the coaches being on the hot seat so far this year. Yikes. I mean, they've lost a lot of pieces, and the ones they've replaced the lost pieces with haven't been particularly great. They lost guys to retirement. Patrice Bergeron was so good for so long for them.
He was.
David Krejci leaves. So, yeah, they're in a tough spot. They lose Allmark in goal. Him and Swayman were a terrific tandem. They have the battle with Swayman in the offseason for the contract. Tough go. They lose DeBrus to the Canucks. They bring in Heinen and Lindholm.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Maybe they figure it out. We'll see. We will see. All right. Any other texts you want to get to? I should mention, too, really quickly, that portions of this hour are brought to you by Hudson's, Canada's Pub. We're going to be live on location on the 21st at the White Ave Hudson's. It's going to be fun pre- and post-game show. Connor and the crew, absolutely fantastic. They have game day specials, as well as their new blueberry blonde ale that you can get. I've seen it for $6, and then some days they have it for $5, depending on like game. They have all day happy hours, and then some days they have the game day special. But great place to watch the game, whether it's White Ave or West Edmonton Mall at Bourbon Street. Book your reservation now at Hudson's Canada's Pub, or just come on down. Seat yourself if you're coming to Bourbon Street. Don't ask me where to sit. I'm not the maitre d'. They don't have one.
That's my favorite part of the night.
Yeah, right. You've experienced it. You've
No, I
seen
have.
it.
I
Yes,
have. Everybody just looks at us awkwardly, and we look back at
We're
them
on the
awkward.
air. We are on. There's a light that says on air. It's red. Sometimes it goes out because it's not a great light. But anyway, looking forward to get there. And then November 16th, next Saturday, we are on location at Boston Pizza, Westgate, where Tony, Curtis, and the crew have great giveaways. We have GCs at Hudson's.
Yeah.
We have a lot of them. And then we have GCs and then giveaways at Boston Pizza. Like, what are we talking about? We gave away a bunch of T-shirts, some hats, and then some really good Bauer gear, like jackets, toques, gloves, pants even. And the jackets are like nice, thick ones. I think we had a pullover as well. So come on down. We're going to have a lot of fun. And I also give away the GCs quite liberally when I have them, too. It's just what I do. All right, let's get to it. Donnie M brought it up. We may as well hit on it. Donnie M says, hey, guys, any quick comments on the CFL tonight? Go ahead, Hernan.
Yeah. I mean, Toronto in tough now. They lose Chad Kelly. Looks like broken. It's pretty serious. He's going to be out 6 to 9 months, Tommy. He's getting surgery tonight.
Yikes.
Nick Arbuckle with some clutch throws at the end to seal that one. And then Winnipeg just, from start to finish, man, they weren't messing around today. Kenny Lawler, 3 touchdowns. They were outstanding. So Winnipeg, Toronto, I think early on you have to give the edge to Winnipeg just because Toronto will be without their starting quarterback, who's one of the better ones in the league. But should be fun. They're going to be playing in Vancouver. Weather won't be a problem. It's going to be a fun, week to lead up to it. And I'm looking forward to it, Tom, man. All the best to both teams and fan bases and all their media. It's going to be a great time, man. I can't wait to watch that game. And Winnipeg is just a wagon. It's their 5th straight appearance in the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
It's just unreal what they've done. And kudos to them. They had a slow start, but they found a way. And that's a veteran team that has the culture, that gets it, knows how to win, and knows how to win when it matters most.
Winnipeg, absolutely dominant today in their victory, 38-22. The Argos a little bit closer against the Alouettes, 30-28. They hang on. They had built up a lead, and the Owls made a push late.
Yeah.
And like you said, Nick Arbuckle goes in, the veteran QB, and a couple of smart drives to kill the clock, especially at the very end, gets a first down, or was it 2 first downs with a minute and a half left to go to ice that one. I had the Argos winning.
Me too.
But I also had the Riders winning, and they weren't even close in that one. So Winnipeg, I mean, their road to the Grey Cup just got easier because of the situation with Chad Kelly.
Yeah.
And we'll see if Nick Arbuckle can become a Grey Cup legend and hero next week in Vancouver. But I don't like his chances.
But as we know, it's the CFL, and there's always special moments, and hell, this might be one, right? You know,
how about this? In 2007, it was Ryan Dinwiddie getting his first ever start against the Riders in the Grey Cup in Toronto.
Yeah.
And he lost that one. And now Dinwiddie, the coach of the Argos, maybe, I don't know, if like in a weird roundabout way, like he passes on some kind of wisdom to Nick Arbuckle, although Arbuckle's been in the league for a long time.
You want to hear something crazy too, Tommy?
I do.
So the Edmonton Elks acquired Nick Arbuckle.
I remember this.
Do you know for who?
No.
For the rights to Chad Kelly.
I did know that.
Talk about coming full circle, eh?
Ooh.
Holy smokes.
Awful. Although, I mean, Kelly and his off-field stuff is not good.
Yeah.
You don't want to see people get severely injured ever.
No, of course not.
You know, that hurts for Chad Kelly. But Winnipeg, they're looking really good going into the Grey Cup next weekend against the Toronto Argonauts. So there you go, Donnie M. There's our thoughts on the Grey Cup. And I'm a little bit kind of disappointed that 2026 is going to Calgary.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming 2027 comes here, and we have a nice refurbished stadium at Commonwealth.
That'd be amazing.
That would be fantastic. All right, we touched base briefly with Brendan Batchelor, play-by-play voice of the Vancouver Canucks. Great to catch up with him a little bit, give us a bit of insight and preview of the Canucks. I know it wasn't much, but we got to some of it. And then Belsey was great as well. He'll be back with us on the GCL Diesel post-game show. Hernan, good show. Well done, sir.
Fun times. Let's go.
All right. Thanks to everyone who listened and watched. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Enjoy the Oilers and the Canucks, and we'll join you for the madness, win or lose, on the GCL Diesel post-game show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Ciao for now.